Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever, whenever that you're tuning in. This is Yonks, and this is now our fourth working group as we are preparing our HeroX team submission for Solar Prize Round 8. And let me go ahead and fire up the screen share here so that we can see our agenda for today. We've got a lot of agenda, but it is Saturday afternoon, and I want to thank everybody that has joined us here on a Saturday afternoon. Appreciate the commitment to build cool projects, and I love what we're doing here and the direction that we're going in. So anyway, let me hop down to the agenda, and wherever that you're tuning in, we have the agenda linked here so that you can follow along, but you'll also be able to see it on the screen here as well. So I always like to start off our conversations as far as the culture that we're building here. And we will always build people first organizations, not a technology first approach. And I really love our FELG culture, which stands for fun, earning, learning, and giving. So want to also thank everybody that added their availability to the Let Us Meet. Let Us Meet is a tool that we use to find the most inclusive time. And you can see here that most of the people opted into this time here today. So thank you everybody that added your availability. So we don't have any new people, so we're going to just hop right into the agenda, and we're going to take a look at the deliverable section here. So these are the things that we have to finalize for our agenda. And time permitting, we may actually just roll up our sleeves here later in the agenda and start filling in the submission form. But wanted to thank Sinbad and for the video draft that he's created, and that's one of the things that we're actually going to fire up here right now. So let me see if I can get this going, and let me see if it will work for the replay. And when I start the video, let me see if it's working as far as this is one of the things that I don't do a whole lot of. Let's see, video settings. Anyway, I'm gonna fire it up, and if I could get some reactions from people if it's going here, if you hear the audio and all of that, that would be great.
Yeah, there's no audio on my end.
Audio. I'm not hearing it.
Okay, this is one of the things that I can't remember how to do. Let's see. Share computer sound. Okay, here we go. Let me take this back. Hey everyone, Yonks here, and I'm very excited to introduce On-Chain Energy Network, an innovative software platform for cooperative ownership of renewable energy resources. On-Chain Energy Network empowers communities to cooperatively own and manage distributed energy resources, including solar, battery storage, and EV charging stations. And our mission is to make cooperative ownership of renewable energy accessible to everyone. We create opportunities for underserved communities. With Gigs Go Green, we will initially focus on Uber and Lyft drivers who often face challenges in acquiring wealth-building assets. Through On-Chain Energy Network, we destroy barriers to ownership, creating cooperative ownership of valuable energy resources, reducing costs, and building a greener, more financially secure future. Our software platform facilitates a multi-stakeholder environment, bringing together cooperative members, investors, local organizations, and municipalities to create community-owned and operated energy resources. By capping investor dividends at 15%, we ensure benefits flow to low and moderate income community solar subscribers and their families. Join us in realizing energy justice through cooperative ownership. On-Chain Energy Network, powering communities together. All right. Well, thank you again, Sinbad, for that video, and just wanted to open it up for feedback as far as anything. This is the last chance that we've got because we are at the 11th hour for finalizing this. But I'm just going to share some. I saw John sharing some, and I'm going to give some heart emojis on the screen here as well. So go ahead, John.
Well, you know me, I'm all about sustainability as well. I don't know if it's possible to work that in at this stage, but it's there's a little nugget you could throw in at the end, maybe. I don't know. I just have a myopic perspective, sustainable, renewable, and social impact. But no, I'm quite pleased with it. I think it's good to go.
And I see Jonathan's got an excellent comment in the Zoom chat here. So thank you for that as well. And I'm going to give you a little heart on fire on the Zoom chat here. All right. Any additional feedback here on the video?
I mean, I'll just speak real quick as the videographer and designer and all that. Essentially, glad everybody over liked it. But yeah, if anybody has any final feedback, as Young's kind of said, this is the second to final draft. The next one I submit is the final version where I'm still are there still gonna be like official logos for Gigs Go Green? Because I just use some placeholders for now. But is there gonna be like an official logo or something of that nature?
Yeah, I'm working one with Yonks.
All right. Yeah, when the sooner you can get that to me, the better.
Yep.
Obviously, this is due Thursday, so I mean,
Okay.
if you can, that would appreciate it. But yeah, so
Great.
any other final notes? If not, then I will, there's a few things that I plan to iron out in it. And obviously incorporate any final logos and images and branding you guys want. And then, yeah, final version will probably be submitted pretty much the day after you guys send me all those logos.
Just one question. I don't know if this matters. Jason, the first reference that you made was to Gigs Go Green, and then the rest of the time you're talking about on-chain energy network. Does that matter? Because we're not really talking about Gigs Go Green at all, or it doesn't matter.
Well, and that's a great feedback because we pivoted from Gigs Go Green to On-Chain Energy Network plus Gigs Go Green because really the narrative that we're submitting as far as the written narrative is about On-Chain Energy Network, which we're positioning as a software platform, basically a SaaS for the cooperative ownership of renewable energy resources. So that's one of the things that we need to be really thoughtful of, and that was based upon the feedback that we had from Amanda Buchanan, the power connector that has been facilitating in a power connector capacity since Solar Prize round 3. So, and just to echo what the judges are really looking for here with Solar Prize round 8 is something, whether it's a hardware solution or a software solution that's going to be commercially viable in a 3 to 5 year time frame. And on-chain energy network is, again, basically going to be a software as a service model that we're going to initially use for maintaining the cooperative ownership. And then that's one of the things that we bullet pointed some of the things for a roadmap in a prior working group as far as that SaaS solution. And we're basically going to be using the software as a service for building out Gigs Go Green. And one of the things that I've really had some realization surrounding in having conversations with lots of people about this project is that the Gigs Go Green, like, and this just goes back to a simple thing as far as like when you're pitching or when you're having a conversation of know your audience. And most people aren't very familiar with the audience of gig workers. So we will likely lean more into an energy for Christ and a we own energy as far as like more leading with the energy. Because one of the goals with our energy renewable opportunity is that we're wanting to onboard community solar subscribers. And the way that I understand solar economics is that they're so good in 2024, and then like the ability to stack the green energy tax credits and the Inflation Reduction Act, that we can basically guarantee a price savings through compared to like Excel Energy here in Colorado of 10% for normal people and businesses. And then for those low and moderate income families, a 20% energy savings. So that's really the goal of the business model, is to onboard energy subscribers. And then I think that we'll be even hitting a sweeter spot, because a good portion of the energy that we're going to be generating we'll be able to sell directly with our distributed energy resources, the solar, battery storage, and EV charging. So anyway, any other feedback before we move on? I'm going to fire up the screen share again. So let's see, share.
Not so much feedback, but just a question, because I don't think I got an answer for the, name dropping Gigs Go Green in the video. I just want to make sure if that's something you need me to remove or not.
No, I think keeping it in there is absolutely fine. And Tyler already alluded that it's not a main aspect, and that's one of the things that I feel really good about the script for the video. So I'm quite okay with the video as it is. Like, if you didn't make any changes and maybe like just one addition of like you said, Sinbad, of adding the logo that Nicole finalizes, I think we're ready to go with this. I'm super pleased with what you've created here for us.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, then, I mean, there's a couple little things I'll clean and tighten up, but otherwise, yeah, the main intention is just if you guys, again, have a finalized logo and, final screen capper, whatever you want me to incorporate, then I'll swap out my placeholders for the official ones, and then that will be the final video.
And just plugging your adventure storytelling media business here, Sinbad. So thank you, and looking forward to doing more work. Like I said, here in whether it's October or November, we're going to be doing a Kickstarter, and the video for the Kickstarter that we're going to be doing is a very, very different narrative. That's one that we're going to be leaning heavily into the gig worker narrative, and looking forward to collaborating with you on that as well.
Yeah, I look forward to lots of future videos you can do, whether it's the Kickstarter one, or I think we loosely talked about maybe some real estate stuff when the God, my brain is fried. What's the property called again? The thing with the
Region Village.
There we
the
go.
Gigs Go
Region
Green
Village.
Region Village, absolutely.
Yeah, this is what happens when you work multiple 12-hour days on many, many, many projects all at the same time.
Yeah, no, I can appreciate that. So, all right, moving down on the agenda. So the one pager, I'm going to go ahead and open this in the slide. Let me make this bigger for everybody here. Zoom. Oh. Zoom. Maybe do this. There we go. All right. So, and one of the things too that I was thinking about, BHAG over here, like I think the opportunity to shift our BHAG into onboarding, and I don't know what that is, 10 million people into our ecosystem by 2030 is a goal, and just maybe even shifting from the gig workers to just people into our renewable energy ecosystem, I think might be a better narrative for that. But did you want to share any thoughts on this, Nicole? I really like this. This is something that we had a little bit of side conversations already around.
No, I'm open to feedback, even from the team. So this is it's just a very basic layout, no color right now. But you can see placeholder. The second and third page, we're not going to have, it's just there to throw things down. But the one pager where everything's up, it's the page you're looking at. But yeah, I'm just open to feedback at this point. And then I'm going to be finalizing up my end, and then Sinbad, I'll be handing you over the logo when it's colorized and done.
And I'm just thinking here, like we should probably just make this a roadmap. Go ahead, John.
For our letters of support, could you tell me who are they addressed to? How do we do that with this? It just dawned on me. We've got the G3. What am I writing it to? Am I writing it to
on-chain energy network or affiliated partners, because we'll likely do, like I mentioned earlier, Energy for Christ or We Own Energy. That's likely those two brands that we will be onboarding community solar subscribers into. But
John,
on-chain energy network or affiliates. Go ahead, Tyler.
were you asking who you're supposed to address the letter to, like American Made Solar Prize or the entity that you're referencing?
I'm asking, I'm going to write a letter of support. So I just want to know what to put in the upper left corner in terms of the name of the entity and the address, PO box, whatever.
I probably American Made Solar Prize Selection Committee submitted by email. I don't know if we actually have an address for them because we submitted all online. But
so the letter of support is writing to the authority on behalf and recommending this one. Okay, I get it.
so we're actually thinking two things on the letters of support. One was something specific for HeroX, and then maybe change out one sentence and just say just letter of support with no addressee that we can just tag on to everybody, that because we're going to be pushing this project out to a lot of different audiences, and just saying, hey, I as an expert in this field think this is awesome and you should too, just kind of in a general way.
Yep.
One thing that I was going back to the one pager here, didn't we shift this Sinbad in the video to just powering communities together?
Yeah, you towards the end of it, you gave me 2 runs, and I used powering units. I used powering mainly just because of the total of 6 takes we did. That was your best. That was your best acting, we'll say. That was when you had the cleanest, most well energy. It just sounded really clean, sounded very good. The ones where you said empowering, they would have worked, and we'll leave it at that. So I went with powering.
No, I that's one of the things that just wanting to keep the consistency across the messaging here, because when you're not consistent, people get confused. All right,
Excuse me, Jason. So, but
Go ahead, John.
when I reference our thing, I'm referencing on-chain energy network, because this is about the project. How am I referencing our project and what we're doing?
Just reference on-chain energy network, and if you want, you could also do Gigs Go Green too, because I mean we're still having the team name here for this as on-chain energy network plus Gigs Go Green, and this is an opportunity to, like, when we get the logo for on-chain energy network, to do a slight different banner. I don't really think that the banner here on this matters too much. What matters a lot more is and I'm going to just scroll back to the deliverables here real quick, because I've got the links here for all of the collateral that we need to work on, finalize, and I also included that in the calendar invite so that it's all over the place. And we've got some drafts, John, that Tyler has been working on. We'll get those over to you so that we can get those collaborated on and finalized for inclusion here in our submission. All right, getting back to the agenda here.
Jonathan had a couple thoughts too in the chat.
Okay, let's take a look at that. Thanks for that, Nicole. So document framing is good and professional. Thumbs up. I'm going to give that a thumbs up. Can we add one financial related graph into the one pager, something showing a metric supporting the opportunity, appetite for community owned solar over time, something. I'm not sure if I'm completely following what your thoughts are, but I don't know if you wanted to speak to that, Jonathan.
Yeah, I'm wondering if there's a way to demonstrate a metric in a graph to support our thesis of this project as a good opportunity. And so I'm trying to think about what that metric would look like. But in my mind, when I'm looking at a one pager, right, I'm looking broadly for a couple of things. I'm looking for competency. I'm looking for quality, and I'm looking for some type of metrics to frame the opportunity with. So I like from a graphic standpoint, it's framed very well. I like it's not overly complicated or too detailed, but like my mind's eye is looking for that quantifiable numeric piece of data to go, oh yes, everything here looks good, if that makes sense.
So you're looking for something more graphically. Yes. The intention I have is that I would be throwing in some kind of image in the background. And I had not gotten to that level yet. But yeah, it would have to go in correspondence even with what we're talking about in here. So I agree.
Go ahead, John. I see you've got your hand up.
Yeah, I could whip up something from I've got charts. I mean, we could like I could do a simple graphic that would show social impact or something.
Whatever metrics you guys have, like send it my way. And then I do my thing. And Jason has seen some of the stuff I whip up too. But yeah, I mean, like whatever you can give me that is data related, I can make that data look really good.
Because I did some real rough estimate of decarbonization over time under the previous, not the 5-story apartment concept, but the previous 24 rentals and all that. And because I was forecasting our company decarbonization over the next 5 years. So I've got estimated carbon for gigs go green but it's got the Teslas and the solar and all that in there. So I have that. I can share that data, which shows over time decarbonization. And then I can take a look at some of my data. I'll do it this weekend. I've got some other data that's on social impact net present value. And so I think we could have a couple of charts that could point to the good stuff here.
Great. Send it over.
And here's one that I just pulled up. I don't know if this would be worthwhile, but this is the a forum post, and this was some research that NREL did, the National Renewable Energy Laboratory. Community solar is a huge component of the overall design that we're doing, and this is fairly recent. Is this the kind of data that you think that would be worthwhile, Jonathan or John, in
Yes.
this one pager?
Absolutely. That's
Well,
kind of what I
yeah,
was looking
that
for.
Colorado is sorely behind. So yes, absolutely.
Well, you say sorely behind, but when you unpack, this is only listing the top 10 states. So Colorado's still one of, because like you look at all the other states, like one of the states that's not even on here, John, is California. And we know how big California is.
Yeah. Interesting.
So I'll just do a screenshot of this.
I've
This
already
is-
done it.
Okay, cool. So you
It's
don't
already
need
on
any.
page 2.
You are amazing, Nicole. Thank you so much. Because yeah, the community solar aspect, and that's one of the reasons, and just to like kind of plant a seed, as far as the New York, as I've mentioned, is very high. Minnesota is potentially even higher, because one of the reasons that Minnesota is potentially higher is I believe that they actually have the most favorable community solar regulations out of all 50 states. But when you think about strategy, Minnesota is also the headquarters of Xcel Energy, and the better that we can get interconnecting with Xcel Energy, which is also the largest investor-owned utility here in Colorado. So just getting great at interconnecting our distributed energy resources. And this is one of the things too that I'm going to just talk about here. IEEE 1547. This is something that we should include within our written narrative, which is the IEEE standard for the interconnection and interoperability of distributed energy resources. And that's our main goal in whether it's a parking lot model or regen village or a single family house, that we really want those to be distributed energy resources. And most importantly, in this model that I think is the sweet spot is a distributed energy resource that can distribute directly to the consumer through the EV charging. And I think that that's one of, like I said, a sweet spot in this model. So, all right, continuing on the conversation. I think that that's enough conversation about the one pager, and here I've got this 20 minutes, but let's take a look at the Calendly conversation. And I'm not completely sure. Again, I mentioned the NAMIC opportunity here, but this is Ashley. We had a conversation with her about the Jedi, so the opportunity to potentially get some final feedback from Ashley. And I don't know, Tyler, if you want to look at our calendar and see if one of these time slots are better. There's much less availability on Monday, but that would give us one additional day to do some narrative refinement. And these times are all in Mountain Time here. What are your thoughts, Tyler?
About scheduling this meeting?
Yeah, just grabbing a time slot for Ashley for our second call. And she's again the Jedi support person who we had a conversation with previously.
Yeah, let's just do it.
Is one of these times good?
For me or for everybody?
For both of us, and then whoever else wants to be in the conversation. I know that we tend to normally gravitate towards afternoon time because we can normally get Brooke down for a nap at that time.
Yeah, afternoon is better that day, but you've got NAMIC, so I don't know what your schedule looks like for that. We can
Well,
talk-
and for a 30-minute conversation, I'm sure I could carve out a 30-minute because this is something that absolutely need to prioritize. So just if we want, do we want to grab one of these right now? And then does anybody else that wants to participate in this want to chime in their availability, like looking at the afternoon on Tuesday, the 24th?
Jason, is book club canceled that day?
No, I was still planning on having it. So you're right. That would be one. So thinking 1 or 1:30 Mountain Time. Go ahead, John.
12:30. Yeah. Oh, so 1 Mountain Time would be 2 my time.
Yeah.
10 would be 11. I have a 9:30 would be 10:30.
And did you want to chime in some thoughts too from your side, Sinbad? Like as far as the 1 or 1:30 or earlier?
I won't have availability at all to any time next week for this. That was a big reason I said I was going to have the video like basically done by the end of the day today. Is I've got filming and projects pretty much all next week. I can do like smile touch up stuff, but that'll be me working on it like 7, 8, 9 o'clock. So yeah.
Sure.
Well,
All
I'm
right,
good.
well-
30 minutes in the afternoon, just not a full hour.
Yeah, and this would just be a 30-minute conversation. So we'll figure out like
Oh, it is 30.
Yeah. So we'll grab that either the 1 or the 1:30 on Tuesday. So all right, so taking a look here, and I'll leave that one unchecked. So last working group, we talked about one of the needs that we have is outside counsel for more on the security side. And I did have a conversation with Michael Dornick from Treeline, and let me open up his website. So I linked in the Google Docs, which is showing right here as far as some questions and answers. So if you want to contribute a question and answers, or if you're interested in participating on the legal conversation, here's the let us meet for that. I'm not going to really spend any additional time on that. That's something that we can work asynchronously on as far as getting some questions that you would like to see answered on the somebody that has securities expertise for startups. So also just wanted to share real briefly that pitched Gigs Go Green Region Village for the first time. And there's a link to the replay video here if you would like to watch that. And I'll try to get a timestamp where that conversation starts. I did want to unpack the investor form that we created, and this is one of the things that we're going to add. Let me make this a little bit bigger here. One of the that we're going to add to this form is a what state are you in? Because this is something that is very relevant. But I see John's got your hand up. Is that for this?
No, it's to I'd like a little more clarity on the thing you mentioned about somebody that's familiar with startup securities. One of my partners will have some thoughts on that. Can you email or post something that I can copy or share that would be a little more than just that, what you said? Is it legal counsel or is it financial counsel or?
So it's regarding, so one of the things that we're wanting to do, like an immediate need, is that we're needing to right here on this, the crowd safe. And for those that may or may not be familiar, a safe is a simple agreement future equity. So we're really wanting this to be a fairly simple agreement that we're going to convert that either to a token of that specific parcel or a one of the tokens for the regulation crowdfunding offering. And so it's somebody that can assist with drafting that. And the there's going to be two means that we're going to be onboarding people that want to contribute via IRA, like IRA funds through Alto IRA. And then this is where we're going to have our private raise portal, and we're looking to use Regulation D, Rule 504, where we can raise up to 10 million for that specific entity there for the region village in Thornton, specifically the land. And that's one of the things that I've mentioned is the way that we're going to be structuring that is whoever invests in this, going back to the form over here. This is specifically for the land, and then there will be another opportunity probably in 2025, and that's one of the things that we'll have to decide. But more than likely, there will be the opportunity for people to invest in the buildings, and we're doing that very intentionally because, from my perspective, the building will be a higher risk, and the opportunity to potentially make that a higher return situation. But yeah, this is a form that created about the only thing that we're going to make on this form. And I was really pleased. Dform is the platform that we used to do this. And they create some really nice forms. But more importantly is that they also have the, and didn't really incorporate that in this particular form, but they do have the opportunity for doing Web3 wallet related opportunities or token gating and other cool stuff. So this is something that we will likely continue to use a lot within our ecosystem, and that depends on if we can create something that looks as fabulous on our own website at 3Win Social, but that's still very much under construction. But the only thing that gonna again add to this form is are you a legal resident of Colorado? Because we're mostly going to be focusing on onboarding investors here in Colorado. And I don't know how much that we're even going to pitch this specific opportunity, because the thing that we're wanting to focus on onboarding is when our 3 regulation crowdfunding offerings go live for Gigs Go Green. That's the primary thing that we're going to be pitching and onboarding investors into there. So did that answer your question, John?
Yes.
All right, great. So anyway, showed the form. There's a link to the video. And like I said, I'll work on getting a link specifically at the start of the pitch that I did there. And I will likely include that in this question and answer so that the attorney, Michael Dornick with Treeline Law Group, can review that before the upcoming questions and answers. So One question that I wanted to bring forward is, as I mentioned, getting ready to fly to Detroit. I'll be flying to Detroit Wednesday evening. Our submission deadline is Thursday, the 26th at 5 o'clock Eastern Time, 3 o'clock Mountain Time. And I'm really wanting to focus. MCon 3 kicks off on the 26th. So I would really like to see things finalized from our perspective on the 25th so that I can devote my full energy to the conference. But the question I'm really wondering is, should I pitch Gigs Go Green Region Village or On-Chain Energy Network? I think that there's about 10K of opportunity of services that we could potentially get. I personally think that the narrative would probably resonate more or better with the audience with On-Chain Energy Network, talking about technology and SaaS and software platforms and stuff like that. But what is everybody else's thoughts?
So for me, it always comes down to who your audience is, and it might be a case by case basis. I did see someone commented like if you wanted to pitch one project versus one whole pipeline and service and opportunity. But I also know that I go to still pitch Boulder a lot, and there's many people there that would argue like, hey, people resonate when you show how much skin you put in the game, and nothing says you put skin in the game like dropping over $1 million on a property to like actually fully reconstruct and build it all. So it might be a case by case basis, but that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, and that's some great feedback. And go ahead, John. I see you've got your mic open and your
Well,
hand
I
up.
like the idea of because you're going to tokenize the vertical, the real estate side. I think Gigs Go Green is good, sensible branding for the build. On-chain energy network is great. This thing all works together, goes site to site to site, and tokenize the ownership of the renewable energy assets and the Teslas, and so I think there's opportunity to carry forward Gigs Go Green on the real estate. I mean, on the the physical buildings, because on-chain energy network kind of doesn't resonate for tokenized ownership of sustainable, attainable apartments.
No, it definitely doesn't. And to going back, like, it's more of I see Jonathan's got some comments here as far as the pipeline aspect, and it's really like more geared for the pipeline. I'm looking to see where the deck that I did. For some reason, I'm not seeing it in my Google Drive, but anyway, it would definitely be easier for me, and I already submitted pitching Region Village. It'd take a lot less work for me because I don't have any slides created for On-Chain Energy Network. I might be able to throw a couple slides in there because I do think that is maybe a better opportunity to resonate with the audience there. But does anybody else want to chime in any thoughts on that before we move on? We're already 10 minutes till our scheduled time concludes here.
Yeah, can I say I was kind of on the fence between the two. Personally, I like swinging for the fences, but I think John convinced me that kind of considering this model is new. You don't want to talk about the 100 projects you're going to do before you've completed your first project. So I think he's offering some sound advice there.
No, I agree, and that's the biggest thing I think that we need to do is get move forward with showing the value proposition. And like we're working towards building a pipeline, but we know that like even once we get a letter of intent for like our parking lot model, it will realistically be 6 to 18 months before that project is online. But we're excited too to like talk about the single family house proof of concept that Tyler and I are monetizing very nicely. But that's anyway. Moving on, I'll just do the region village, and I'm just going to highlight this with a green right here. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about, this was an article that I came across, and I don't even remember how that I came across it, is, let's see where it's at. Well, I'll just open it up here. So this is a articles and resources database that I have in Notion, and this is one of the things, if anybody comes across an article that resonates well, we all know of Starbucks. It's unquestionably the most successful coffee shop brand in the world. And I thought that this was an interesting article where they were really talking about using community solar to power their renewable, to power their stores, and just some interesting noteworthy quotes that I saw here, that they power over 77% of the company operated locations using renewable electricity globally. And one of the renewable energy companies that they do that with is with Nexamp. And I was just going to open up here. Nexamp is a community solar. So talking about, like, we talked about 10% and 20%, and this Nexamp is doing 10% and 15%. So this is one of the value propositions, just to provide a comparable. And then looking at, like, how many community solar subscriber customers that Nexamp has, 70,000 direct energy customers. I don't know what the history of Nexamp is, and I'm not sure who some of the other community solar subscribers are, but just wanted to bring forward, this is like one of the existing community solar subscribers around a global energy brand. And the more that we can talk about these kinds of situations, just to say, hey, here's the opportunity. And Starbucks is using Nexamp that, they've only got 70,000 customers. And anyway, does anybody want to chime in any thoughts on this article? If you, again, come across any of these articles, share them with me and we'll get them added to our articles and resources database. All right. So the question here is, this is working group number 4. Do we need a 5th working group on, and I would say Monday or Tuesday, or I would say probably Tuesday or Wednesday, is kind of my thoughts. I'm going to be traveling, so it'd be more earlier in the day on Wednesday. But what does everybody think about a 5th working group to put a bow tie on things?
I mean, me personally, I think everything's pretty complete at this point. Granted, I'm also speaking from the side of I most likely would not be able to attend because I'll be quite busy next week. But what would be the service point of putting the bow on it?
So one of the things, I mean, we've got a couple minutes here, like, like the opportunity for us to start working on the, let's see, submission, begin entry. So let's actually just see what this looks like. So here's where we do the team submission, short description, an image, and this is where, because one of the things that I'm wanting to change whenever Nicole gets the image finalized for On-Chain Energy Network, change that from the gigs that go green, and then so this is actually something that we're going to be submitting as Web3 Freedom Club DAO. That's the entity that we're using to basically incubate projects right now. On-Chain Energy Network and Gigs Go Green, neither of these are formed entities. That's one of the things that we're planning to do, whether we do that in 2024 or 2025. So, and then, like, the other thing too, going back to our requirements, is that we're basically going to be doing a PDF of the deliverables here of the submission. This is a template that we did or downloaded from the resources. This is also a template, and then PDF this, and then we'll also PDF the one-pager letters of support, and then there'll be a link. The video, when that gets finalized, that'll be uploaded to Gigs Go Green and On-Chain Energy Network, and we'll probably submit the link to the On-Chain Energy Network. I need to make sure that the On-Chain Energy Network YouTube exists, because that's a brand that basically spun up here. But I think that we could probably finalize this just working asynchronously, because hopefully I'll be participating in NAMIC, but I'm thinking that we could probably get this all completed without doing a final fifth working group. What is everybody else's thought? And I see Jonathan put in here one more to review submission on recording. I mean, that we could do that and maybe make it a half an hour working group instead of an hour. I don't know if we would really need an hour, because I think most of the discussion and the conversation is finalized.
Yeah, I'm all for short and sweet. I think that we need to just button this thing up, and if everybody wants to hit go together, cool, like go team.
Yeah, and I saw a heart reaction from Jonathan on the half an hour thought. So I'll do a let us meet for a half an hour to put a bow tie on things. One of the things that we'll be sending out some emails here over the course of the weekend. We would really we're wanting to get a nicely refined bio when we're building out the team, because I think that that's the biggest opportunity that we have is to really is to put a bow tie on this from the team perspective, because I'm really excited about the team that we formed here and the diversity of experience that we all bring to this. So quality of participants. And one of the things, I'm going to change gears a little bit because we only have a couple of minutes, but we haven't leaned too much into the on-chain aspects of things. And HAT's protocol is a protocol for organizational, and let me go here real quick, because this is one of the things that all of us participating in here, I would really like to airdrop an NFT that represents participating here, and I've already done that to some people already. So like this is the organizational graph. So like I created here Gigs Go Green. So this is something, and for those of you that don't have a Web3 wallet, reach out to me, and that's absolutely something that I can. And if we don't have your wallet, let me know, because I've already airdropped this to 4 of our team members where I know that that we have their Web3 wallet. But this is just one of the fun ways that we like doing on-chain representation as far as a proof of coordination and participation. And this is something that will continue to expand here under funding teams. This is basically a funding team. And just going back to like the team split here, like this is something that we'll have some more conversations with. And the goal here, and we won't know whether we win this contest, this prize, until like December. But one of the things that I feel really good about is getting some clarity around on-chain energy networks. So anyway, we're here on the hour, want to be respectful of everybody's time. Does anybody want to chime in some final thoughts before we call this a wrap here today for our 4th working group? Don't see any mics open up, so I'm going to stop the screen share and then we can wave goodbye. Everybody have a happy, fun, and safe weekend. So thanks, everybody. Have a good rest
God
of your
bless.
Saturday.